Well, we've all been watching a live stream of thousands of people killed, entire families buried under rubble, children starving, hospitals bombed, aid blocked, and yet world leaders and corporate media keep telling us it's not that bad. Netanyahu is now actually claiming Hamas leveled all the buildings in Gaza themselves. Mike Huckabee claims no civilians are being shot while waiting for food. And over on Fox News, they're saying the people in Gaza actually look healthy. This isn't spin, it's not bias, it's gaslighting in the middle of a genocide. And they're hoping you're going to stop believing your own eyes. So let's start off with the starvation claims. Here's Bill Hemmer on Fox News claiming everybody he saw looked healthy. But I want you to notice the footage they show. None of it is of the people. Watch this.
Great, great question. I'm not a doctor, but what I saw today were a lot of healthy people who were very energetic. Many of them were young, age 12, 14, 16, adults in their 50s and 40s with 5, 6, 7 children. They were healthy based on the way I viewed it today. It doesn't mean what's going on the other side of that area is not the case, but that was my observation so far today. It's only one snapshot of what we saw within several hours inside of Gaza.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you saw only healthy people, yet where's the footage of the healthy people as he's sitting there trying to gaslight us into believing that people aren't starving in Gaza? We know people are absolutely starving in Gaza. We're watching the footage. We're seeing it. This is being live streamed to our phones. We're seeing even Cindy McCain, of all people. I mean, you've got a McCain, a Republican. She's the head of the World Food. What is her post, actually? She's the WFP chief, what does the WFP stand for? The World Food Program. That's right. So Cindy McCain is in charge of the World Food Program. And she even says this: we can't airdrop our way out of an unfolding famine, not in Gaza. 500,000 people are starving today, she says. So she's in charge of the World Food Program. She's saying 500,000 people are starving today. And the only way to get food to them at scale is by land, is what she's saying. So you've got even Cindy McCain, the wife of John McCain, Republican, and she's saying the people are starving. 500,000 of them today are starving. It is that bad. But we're being told by Fox News, don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe all these starving people that you're saying. No, instead, the people look healthy. Don't they look healthy to you? I mean, look at these people. Do they look healthy? Do these people look like they're not starving? Now, some people are saying these are staged photographs. That's what we've also been seeing online. People are claiming that all of this, this is all just staged. This is just journalists are going out there and they're telling people to act like this. You can't stage that. Is that baby staging starvation? Were they able to convince that baby to stage being starved? I mean, for these children to be, is this staging right here? Because we're seeing this. And you're trying to tell us the people look healthy, Bill Hemmer at Fox News? That these are healthy people? When we've seen that there's been a complete blockade of all food, that they're not getting the food, that when they go to the food distribution centers, they're being shot at because the people are so desperate, they're running at the food. And then the Israelis claim, they're running at us, they're going to hurt us. And so they start shooting at the crowd when the people are so desperate because this is what their children look like. I mean, this is gaslighting. The gaslighting is, I don't even know how a person's brain can process this. I don't know how they can actually believe this and say this type of thing. Here's Trump saying, it's not a genocide. Watch this.
They see evidence of a genocide in Gaza?
I don't think it's that. Look, they're in a war. Some horrible things happened on October 7th, as you know. It was a horrible, horrible thing. One of the worst I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of bad things in some president in terms of wars and potential wars. I mean, if you look at the one that we just stopped, there are thousands of people being dead already at the border between Thailand and Cambodia. Thousands of people. And I mean, I've seen some bad things, but that October 7th with Hamas was really, really bad.
October 7th, when the IDF killed half of the people themselves, that day. Now we've seen 2 years of genocide being committed, but we're going to go back to one day and we're going to say, no, that's the worst I've ever seen. As we're seeing babies starve. I mean, it's really unfathomable. I mean, it's hard to even talk about this because it's just so unbelievable It's so unbelievable. It's just unbelievable how unbelieving people are of all of this. So he says it's a war. You know what? It's not a genocide. It's a war. Is it a war? This is Anthony Aguilar. He was on Tucker Carlson. He's a retired U.S. Special Forces officer. And he says he never once saw an armed Palestinian in the time that he was there. Never once. Watch this.
What's happening in Gaza is often described as a war. And you said you heard and saw small arms fire, mortars, artillery barrages, but they were all coming from the IDF. Did you see counterfire? Were they fighting against an armed enemy? Was it actually a war? Did you ever see any Palestinians committing acts of violence when you were there?
In all the days that I was there, and again, GHF, who again, their lawyers and their press personnel have gone there for some photo shoots. I've been to every site. I've seen the IDF around every location. I've seen the IDF operational graphics and array of their battle forces. I've seen it with my own eyes. I have never, in the entire time that I was there at every site, seen an armed Palestinian.
Not one?
Not one.
So then it is a genocide. I mean, it's not a war. How are you fighting a war against people that aren't armed? But you're massacring all these people. And here's a U.S. Special Forces officer saying he never once saw an armed Palestinian. I mean, the Israelis are making it sound like they're just fighting this evil battle, and all of the Hamas fighters are everywhere. And I mean, there is fighting for sure. I mean, IDF soldiers are getting killed. That's not a lie. That's not being made up. They are being killed. But to think that the entire population of people that Hamas is just hiding amongst them all over the place, that it's just, you know, everybody's Hamas. And here's this U.S. Special Forces officer saying, I never once saw an armed Palestinian. Mike Huckabee, ambassador to Israel, former governor of Arkansas, father of the current governor of Arkansas. He says no civilians are actually being shot. Watch this.
These reports that people are getting shot, and that when Bill Hemmer was there, and I know you were just there recently with Steve Witkoff, he said he could hear gunfire, and he asked the IDF about it. Are civilians, Palestinian civilians, being shot at these humanitarian sites where food is being distributed by the IDF?
No, they are not being shot. There are all kinds of stories that they're just being massacred. The only time that has happened is when a large group overruns an Israeli position and they ignore verbal warnings, then they ignore shots fired in the air, and they ignore shots fired at the ground. But this idea that there is massive killing, I would only tell you it is, but when I asked the Gazans, here's what they told me. They said, yes, if people are getting killed going to the feeding sites, not the GHF sites. That has not been the case. But they do get killed, but they get killed by Hamas. And every single Gazan I spoke to told me that they had a family member that had been murdered by Hamas. These are the people that are supposed to be their government. Instead, they're their tormentors. And they're the ones who are responsible for the deprivation. They're the ones who are responsible for the disastrous consequences of now 22 months of this nightmare.
Tell me, Mike Huckabee, when you were asking these Palestinians about who'd killed their family members, I'm just curious, were you asking, you know, perhaps Palestinians that are being held and starved and beaten and raped in Israeli prisons? Were those the Palestinians you asked? You went to them and you said, tell me who's killed your family? Not the Israelis, right? Hamas, say it, Hamas. I mean, that's just what I'm envisioning in my mind here, because the gaslighting is strong to tell us that there are no civilians being shot at these food sites, and to say that, oh, but if they are, it's Hamas. So Hamas has killed all of these Palestinians. Hamas is the one doing all of this. Meanwhile, this is a report that was put out by the, can you put up the tear sheet here? From Medicine Sans Frontiers. So they're saying this is not aid, this is orchestrated killing. And they say that they operate two primary healthcare centers in southern Gaza, and that the number of bodies between June 7th and July 24th, the health centers received 1,380 injured people, including 28 dead bodies from the GHF sites, not the feeding sites, but from the humanitarian sites, the supposed the supposed humanitarian sites, saying that this represents only a fraction of the total number of people killed and injured at the distribution site. Over a 7-week period from June to July, they said that the staff treated 174 people for gunshot wounds originating from the GHF sites. So what is Mike Huckabee talking about? He's trying to tell us nobody's being shot. And if they are, they're not being shot at these at the GHF sites. They're not, even though these medics are saying, yes, they are. And then they're saying, oh, but if they are being shot, Hamas is doing it. That's what it is. That's what it is. I mean, just unbelievable. It gets worse. Netanyahu's actually trying to claim. So not only is Huckabee saying nobody's getting killed, and if they are being killed, it's Hamas doing it. Bibi is saying, guess you won't believe what he's saying. I can't believe he believes what he's saying. I don't think he believes what he's saying. He's saying that it wasn't the Israelis who leveled all the buildings in Gaza. You see all the buildings in Gaza is completely leveled. Netanyahu's actually claiming Hamas did it.
We put in 2 million tons of food. I mean, if we wanted to commit genocide, we wouldn't give 2 million tons of food to the population. And also the reason you see the flattened buildings is because Hamas booby traps every single building. So when we come in, we first have the population moved, even though Hamas tries to keep them in the combat zones. But after they move, and we start to move into the neighborhoods that are now populated only by terrorists, they ignite these booby traps. So what we do is we put in an APC, an armored personnel carrier, with a lot of explosives, detonate it. It sets off all the booby traps, and the buildings begin to collapse as a result of that. They're empty buildings. They're not populated buildings.
What? He's actually trying to say every single building's booby trapped by Hamas, and then they blow up their own buildings. That's what's gone on here. It's not us. It's them. Hamas has such powerful weapons, apparently, that instead of using them against Israel and the Israelis, right, they're booby trapping and blowing up their own buildings. They've leveled their own community. It's not us. I mean, this is the gaslighting on this. For them to think we're this stupid, that we're going to believe that Hamas actually leveled all their buildings. It's just like October 7th. Now, I can understand the confusion after October 7th because it was frightening and you know, it was a big event, and it was shocking, I think, for everybody to see. But then as the days went on and kind of all the fog cleared and we're all kind of starting to see things clearly, it was like, wait a minute, how you're trying to tell us that these guys that rolled into Israel on like balloons and pickup trucks, that they had strong enough ammunition to cause the type of damage, the incinerated cars? You're telling us that they were able to, with some weapons that they somehow were carrying on their backs, were able to incinerate cars? There's no way in hell. They just don't have that kind of equipment. The only ones who do are the Israelis. So you did that to your own cars. You did that to your own people. That was you and your Hannibal directive. And now, you know, we start to see the fog clears and we start to think clearly and we start to say, okay, wait a minute. No, actually, you killed half of your own people. I mean, that's what you just did. There's just no way. Hamas just doesn't have those types of weapons. And here's Bibi trying to actually tell you that it wasn't the Israelis that have, they're dropping bunker busting bombs, 2,000-pound bombs, and they're claiming, no, it wasn't our bombs that did this. It was Hamas. They booby trapped the buildings. It wasn't our bunker busters or our 2,000 pound. I mean, just the insanity of all of this, the insanity of it. It gets worse. Now, a lot of people will say, well, why doesn't Hamas just release the hostages and come to a deal? You know, if they would just release all the hostages and come to a deal, none of this would have ever happened. You know, so what? Yes, Israel did all of this. Yes, Israel's shooting all of these people getting aid. Yes, Israel did flatten all the buildings. Even if you believe all that, you might be in the camp that says, but, if Hamas would just release all of the hostages, then it would all be over. Except here's an Israeli negotiator on Piers Morgan. This is Gershon Baskin saying, actually, Hamas offered this several times and Israel refused to accept it because Israel has other plans.
Children were born here. My wife was born here. I'm not anti-Israel, but my government is committing war crimes in Gaza. And the arguments that were presented by Brooke belong in the garbage bin of history. It's an intellectual insult, the kind of things that we heard here that insinuate that there's no such thing as a Palestinian people when there are 7 million Palestinians living between the river and the sea. How can you deny the existence of a people, 7 million people who call themselves, excuse me, let me talk. What Israel is doing should not be tolerated by the Israeli public, nor by anyone in the entire world. This war has to end. Mustafa Barghouti was 100% right that Hamas has given in writing, in English and in Arabic. I received from them in August of last year a commitment to end the war and return all the hostages. And then there was more than 100 hostages that they were holding. But they demand an end to the war. They demand that Israel withdraw from Gaza. They demand a release of Palestinian prisoners. And they demand that humanitarian aid go into Gaza. They also added in writing, twice I've received from them in Arabic, that Hamas will not govern Gaza.
So there you have it. Hamas has given in to the demands. Hamas said, we won't govern it. We'll give you all the hostages back. There are all these things that you want. We'll do it. Last August, that's a year ago. A year ago. And Israel has ignored and claimed, well, they're not coming to the table. We're just going to have to keep bombing them. We want our hostages back. We're not going to stop till we get our hostages back. They haven't been able to get any hostages back through these bombing campaigns. Only a couple. And that's lucky. I mean, they killed the others themselves. So why is it they're not negotiating? Because that's not what any of this is about. Because this is a genocide, and the whole point is to clear a population. The whole point is to take over the land. And the whole point is to make the entire region for Jews only. And here's Bibi now saying he's going to take all of Gaza.
You will go immediately into a meeting with your security cabinet. Will Israel take control of all of Gaza?
We intend to, in order to assure our security, remove Hamas there, enable the population to be free of Gaza, and to pass it to civilian governance. That is not Hamas and not anyone advocating the destruction of Israel. That's what we want to do. We want to liberate ourselves and liberate the people of Gaza from the awful terror of Hamas.
Why does he always have a horrible smirk on his face? I mean, the guy really is Satan incarnate. I just don't know how else to describe him, really. He always has a horrible, smug smirk on his face as he talks about genocide and getting rid of people. I just don't know of a worse person on earth. I don't. How can you think that there is one when this guy is actively committing genocide, killing children, stopping food from going in, and then saying, and we're going to take all the land, and we're going to smile about it because we got all of you on blackmail. We got all of you sleeping with a goat, or worse, we got all of you sleeping with children via Epstein. So yeah, or we got your children sleeping with children. We got something on you. We got something on you. So that's why I can have a smile on my face, a smug smile on my face, and commit a genocide because we got you. We got you. It's just absolutely sickening and atrocious. And we're all seeing the genocide happen right in front of our eyes. We're seeing the starving people. And we all want this to end. But our government is completely bought off, completely blackmailed, brainwashed, and bribed. And now the gaslighting campaign is at an all-time epic high. It's unbelievable. Hey guys, thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson Show, which you could check out Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. See you there.